Andy, how are you, lad?
I'm fine, in great order,
Good.
great shape, and fully relaxed.
Excellent. And results have been good recently?
They have. Ever since I kicked off a fuss after at Stockport, we've drawn 1 and won 5. So I'm not linking one to the other, but it's nice to get a few wins under his belt and played some great football. Watching it last night, we were brilliant.
Excellent.
Really good.
Excellent. So, I mean, I guess the big news is sort of, it came out on social media over the weekend that you're thinking of selling up. Is that the case?
It is. We're talking to people that actively do that sort of thing. I've been talking to them today, and we'll carry on talks. Actively manage that sort of process. So, that's why we're going.
Okay. And is there any one reason for it, or is it an accumulation of number of issues?
Well, it's an accumulation, and it's Jimmy sickened me with that video a couple of weeks ago. The radio interview a couple of weeks ago, as everybody knows. But it's just an accumulation. Last year we were dire as a club and as a team. We can blame referees, we can blame who we want, but we were dreadful. We got relegated like we should have. And upshot of that is there's another £1 million needed to keep the club afloat. Which is what I'm funding. That's not the issue. But it was our own fault, and I want it'd be nice if people said, look, we got it wrong. We're going to dig deep and get us out of it this year. But that were never forthcoming, and we're getting on my nerves.
Okay.
Because I know we failed last year. I accept my share of it, and we have to. We can't keep blaming everything. We haven't got a budget. We haven't got anything. We haven't got this. We haven't got that. Other, and it just gets on my nerves really. And at the end of last season, we had a debate about it. We didn't do what every other club does and sack people, but it was very much let's wait and see how it goes, and then we'll look at extending contracts or doing whatever once we look like we're in a reasonable place, which ironically we are now. And that weren't enough. Now the downside of giving 3 or 4 year contracts that they were asking for was in the event that we went in non-league, we'd be goosed. I can think of a stronger word, but we'd be goosed because the income falls away. We are well over £1 million down in income, dropping from League 1 to League 2. But if you drop out at EFL, you're into Wild West anyhow in terms of people gambling. It's bad enough in EFL, League 1 and 2, and we'd really struggle to get back. So it's really important that this year we regroup and we don't start collapsing through leagues like like a deck of dominoes. And that's what I wanted to see, and that's still what I want to see. And we can rebuild from a good base. But the aggro from the way we played last season, and the losses, and the stuff you get from fans, and they writing what they say about how poor we were. It grinds you when you're doing everything you can, and you're funding over and above what the club can stand. So in that season, we, for example, we made offers for Cole Stockton from Morecambe that won't come. So on top of what we're losing, I would do my best to support our management team. Who have a great long-term record. There's no two ways about it. But last year, they were crap. They failed miserably, as did I. And I'm kind of like, well, we need to dig deep now and get back into it and see, let's turn it around and rebuild from bottom. And then, so you put up with all that, and we've had some dreadful performances early this season, but now we're playing magic. And when I reflect on it, the thing that we're missing last season was jeopardy. They knew I would back them whatever happens and whatever doesn't happen. And it was kind of like a get out of jail free card. So almost whatever happened. I'm not saying it didn't matter, because it did matter. And it mattered to them. But it didn't matter to them as much as it mattered to me financially. And I think I've always been a big one for loyalty. It's key to me, and I've always been loyal to John and Jimmy, and I still am. They might not think I am, but I still am, because they're still in a job, they're still getting paid, and they're still getting backed. And I think they're the best people for the club, so. But when he put that out on radio, that he needs a 3 or 4 year contract, and how he owns the club and he built the club, and how John and Jimmy did this, that, and t'other, it just doesn't tie up with what I saw when I first went there. And I thought, not only are you asking for something that we can't do, it don't make sense. You're damaging the club that you say you love and you built forever by not just hanging fire and let's see what happens. Because I don't know what our income's going to be, and I certainly don't know if we go down. It's water under the bridge, because they are the right managers for Accrington, in my opinion. So. But after that last game, I go to our local pub, and my mate's wife says to me, "It's really sad what they were saying about you today on BBC Radio Lancashire, Andy." And I said, "Well, I don't know what it was." He said, "Yeah, it ran at 2:00, and it was really poor what they were saying." And I just thought, you know what, you need to end this. It's getting too close to home, and it's the fun's gone. It's not fun, because I'm still paying the bills to keep the club going. I'm it's not like people aren't getting paid. I'm the one putting money in, and everybody else is taking it out. And everybody else that's equal share in the problems is taking it out, and it just got on my nerves. It got on my nerves so much that I just thought, it's time to move on. And I think that's I think that's the right thing to do. I think it's good for the club. I think the club's in fantastic shape. I think it's a great club. It'll return somewhere near budget in the next season. Some of the costs this year were paying off players that were set on, with 40 odd players last year. Some of the costs they had this year were to pay their contracts up, to get rid of players that we took on in error, because they never got to play for the team. So I'm kind of paying for mistakes on all fronts. I'm funding a budget now that's underwater. At the same time, I'm paying off last year's players that aren't going to be any good for us this season. And it's just a one-way ticket to unhappiness. And my family would be saying to me, why are you putting up with it? Why don't you just call it a draw? You're 59, you've got everything you need. You're laughing. You just don't need to be. You don't need to be unhappy, and that's what it got me. It got me in a place where, I'm going home, and they could just see that I were miserable. So it's not a place I ever wanted to be. I'm proud of Accrington, I'm proud of the job we're doing, but I was doing it on behalf of town and fans, putting a bit back. Now I'm putting a bit more back, and I don't mind that, but I'm not being criticised for it. It's just, every one of my actions has been in the best interests of football, wider football, and of Accrington Stanley. So it's kind of like, and I'm not, the criticism don't bother me particularly. It's when, you've got agreed deals. I mean, last year, some of the things that people were coming up to me, agents, and saying, one of our excuses were a lot of injuries. And agents were coming up to me saying a lot of players don't want to come back at your place out from injury. And when you're losing, people don't, they don't want to join in a losing team, and you get all that going on, and you're like, well, the answer's not to get more players. The answer's to regroup and start again, and that's where we were this season, and that's what we're doing. And then Jimmy goes on radio, and it's listen, it's Jimmy and John. It's not just Jimmy. Wanting new contracts and wanting longer term security. But as I said to them, and I've said it to them a few times, what about security for the club? What about Accrington Stanley security? If I fill club up with big contracts now, something happens to me or my business, Accrington Stanley goes bust because it can't pay you out of them contracts if it needs to. It can't afford you in non-league. So the sensible approach and the right approach were to wait and see, get halfway through season and see where we were, and then debate it, and that's where we were at. And I'm just like, well, why have you done that? You were. It caused me a lot of personal, not pain, but a lot of people saying to me, why are you doing it? You must be mad. And why would you want to do that? And I couldn't answer them. That was top and bottom of it, because I've been loyal to the club, the fans, the town, and certainly the managers. They've never earned as much or had as good a setup as when they have under me. And I'm not saying they didn't deserve it, because they did, but it's been a really good ride, and managing it on downside, which is what we're doing last year. It'd have been better as a team rather than me trying to control the cash that we're going to be flying out the door. So I just thought, it was last straw when Scotty's wife, a mate of mine, came up and said, really sad to hear what they were saying about you on radio. And I just thought, I don't even know what it is, and I don't really care. Say what they want, but I just thought, I've come out for a pint, and I'm getting this. Anyway, so I had a few pints, and I thought I couldn't even open my Twitter account. I didn't know how to do it. I'd closed, deactivated.
You've not been there for a long time, have you?
No. I can't talk to fans on any other mechanism.
Yeah.
Radio Lancashire did their interview with Jimmy Bell. I knew nothing about it until their reporters were retweeting it and putting comments out to our fans all over social media. So I didn't know anything about that interview. It was being sent to me. And it weren't like I had a chance to put our side. It weren't like I had a chance to talk to them and say, had they come and saw me before they went on air saying what they're saying, I didn't have a chance to put out my point of view, but that's not the issue, really. The issue goes it's over a longer period, really. I want to be working with people that are going to say, look, all right, we're in the shit. We're going to get a shoulder at wheel and get out of it. And I don't want to be one that all of a sudden is being told, well, all clubs make a loss. It's acceptable we make a loss. I don't want to be in that position. And so I've tried to be different in football, and I've tried to do it in a slightly different way. And I've had tremendous satisfaction. It's a great club. It's a great setup now as well. We've got an academy there that's to die for. Our community trust is flying. First team's flying now. We've got managers with 20 odd years experience. The debts are going to be capitalised, and so there'll be no debt. It'll be debt free, and on it goes again. And somebody else with more fire in his belly can set on and do it.
But from what you're saying, it's just worn you down, and you feel let down. I mean, I remember when I first met you, and you were saying, right, we're going to do it on a smaller budget because we don't have any choice. I remember you telling me you saw the difference that Stanley made to the people of the town. Well, yeah, on a Monday morning, it affected your staff in your factory, and you wanted as a local lad to reinvest, and that's all been great. And myself and Kevin, we did the gig at Stanley. And we were really impressed. We were just gutted we didn't get a chance to see Shiwaddy Waddy 3 days later, because that said, he sent me some of the pics. I was gutted, absolutely gutted. So you've got a legacy there. Yeah, you've got a legacy there in terms of the development of the development of the ground, the development of the facilities, the club earning. So I think you should be really proud of what's been achieved, because I know what a shit show it was, which you inherited, because you showed me some of the figures, and I was going even as somebody like numbers, that didn't make a lot of sense.
They're a bit shitter
now. In terms of, you say you're starting to talk to people. I mean, you've always told me you're a local, you're a custodian of Stanley. How can you ensure, or how can you be happy that whoever you pass the club on to will have that same affection? Or is it, it's business, it's a risk we take, well, I'll do whatever I can in terms of looking for new people?
It's a real difficult one, because, and that's the problem with owners and directors test. They can pass it to start with, but it don't guarantee they're always going to be right. And you could probably argue the same about me now, that good intentions eventually it always follows a course, really, that don't last forever. I have to say, I was thinking of calling it a draw after 10 year anyhow, so this has just preempted it a bit earlier. But the owners and directors test is a lot stronger now. It's a lot firmer, so that'll rule out a lot. And we'll go through all the process to try and ensure that it's the right people. That's assuming there is any right people and anybody wants it. There ain't a big queue of people wanting to buy football clubs in lower leagues that I can see. So it's not. There's no guarantee that a deal will be done and that I won't still be here in the next 2 years. But what I didn't want to do is formally kick off the process of getting out at club without being straightforward about it, and it's just. It takes its toll running a football club. I'm here in my office now at work, and I've got a job to do 5 days a week, and you're there some Saturdays. Sometimes you're going away and travelling. Sometimes you've got Tuesday nights, and it gets too much.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I am. I think club's in great shape. I think, and I might say this anyhow, but I don't think there's a much better club to buy in bottom leagues, because it's got so much potential to grow now in terms of revenue streams from assets that are there, and it's got everything going for it, and I have no regrets about what's gone on. I've had it's been a fantastic ride. I've really enjoyed it, to be honest. I've just got jaded with it. So it's, but it has been a really good ride. We've had some great times, and I don't want anybody to think that I am, that it's all been bad. It's just been this last 5 or 6 months that's just, it's just got me questioning why I need it in my life, and that's where I am, really. It's not. John and Jimmy's track record's up there with anybody's, and they are allowed a misdo. Yeah. But it has to be paid for somewhere, and then you can't act after a missed season and a disastrous season. You can't act like it never happened, because you're stuck with players, you're stuck with a lot of you're stuck with a lot of costs, so you're kind of managing your budget down, and you're lagging it, because some players are happy to take their wages even if they never play. So and they're entitled to. If it other way around, we'd keep them if we wanted to. So I don't have a problem with that. But it just takes a while to get it down. So we're still 35 players with 45 last year, and it's just too many. But this coming at the end of this season, there's a real opportunity to finally sort that out. I'd suggest there's a good chance I'll be there because I don't know how long does it take to sell a club.
Well, 6 to 8 weeks if they've got the cash in the bank account. Because if you take a look at what we've seen at clubs like Coventry and the Wigan deal, which went through recently, you talk to the EFL, I talk to the EFL. I mean, you mentioned the owners and directors test, and it is a lot stronger. Do you see that as a hindrance, or my view is that the EFL is, in terms of the people that are running it, the likes of Trevor and Nick and so on. I'm very impressed with what I've seen. I think they've improved things, but I'm watching as an outside observer, and I genuinely think that they want what's best for the EFL as well.
And clubs.
Yeah.
And clubs. It's a different place as EFL now. There's no two ways about it. It's in a lot better shape. Football's getting in a better shape with the new revenue streams that are going to come that should have been there at first place from Premier League, and there's a better Sky deal coming on. So there's new revenue streams. I think the future's bright for Aki, and I think it's bright for football, because after years and years of arguing about it, we finally got some common sense. I mean, when in early days when I were at EFL meetings, when I was saying, look, we need to tackle this Premier League, I was being told, don't be discussing Premier League unless you've got something you can offer them in return. And I'm like, well, what do you want me to say? The deal's wrong, and that's it. It needs sorting out. And in early days, you were fighting. It was kind of like EFL were run by Premier League. But since Rick's come and Trevor and the chaps, it's a different animal, and they've been prepared to stand up and be counted, which is what's been needed for long enough, and they've done that now, and hopefully they'll, these deals will make football more secure, and they can be managed better going forward, rather than having the distress that we've seen in clubs over the last few years.
Do you think if it hadn't been for the threat of the regulator, that the Premier League would have still been awkward and just looked after themselves?
The key was, and I met Rick Parry up here years ago. The key was the EFL breaking out of this. We've all written as a collective, Premier League, FA, and EFL, to whoever to ask for this, and EFL broke away and said, look, we're supporting a regulator, and that was key, because in past, whatever Premier League said were accompanied by a threat of loss of income.
Yeah.
So listen, now we're getting letters off from EFL saying you can't say that because it could cost us income, and you the terms of the deal with Premier League, you're not allowed to say anything wrong about them. And I wasn't saying anything wrong about them, I'm saying deal's wrong. The way it's all split. So EFL under Rick Parry diverging in terms of opinion were crucial, because before you just couldn't split them, and Premier League controlled everything. And what Rick did were and the board, by the way, what they did were break away, and it'll be instrumental to clubs like Accrington, Wigan, in long run, Bury, and all the smaller northern clubs that have had problems over years. It'll be instrumental in their stability for donkey's years now, which is I'm really proud that we've got better income, better facilities, better regulation, better EFL. I think football's in a far better state. I think, selfishly, Accrington's in a far better state, but it's operating within a framework, a better framework. I used to say it's like bringing your kid up till they're 8 and let it go out, and then sending it out to play with a load of drug pushers. Because everything outside, we're going to make it a problem for that kid, and that was the analogy with a football club. It's no good having a good club if it's operating in a good environment, because it's the environment that drags Bury down, that dragged a lot of clubs then, as well as some crappy owners, of which I'll probably be up there after this.
Never.
But as well as that sort of, as well as there have been some crap owners. There's no two ways about it. If there's 92 clubs, you're going to get some, aren't you? Steve Dale were an interesting character, but you're going to get a whole range of custodians. Hopefully, owners and directors. I mean, if it came up again, they probably wouldn't pass me on the owners and directors test. If they saw Andy Holt's name come up on an EFL owners and directors application, it'd be scrub that, get a line through that right away.
Is this you trying to go a backdoor route? I know you're a Manchester United fan, and you've seen that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's going for 25%. Are we going to see Andy Holt with the other 75% in 12 months' time? And you're playing four-dimensional chess with us all, Andy.
Well, you're. I like your style. I like your strategy analysis, but I can assure you, you won't see me at Man United in any guise. Hopefully, when I'm feeling a bit less pissed off with it all, I might go and have a few pints at Aki and watch a game. So that's hopefully. I mean, Aki Stanley is a love of mine. It grows. The problem is it grows on you. It's like a little bug that you can't really get rid of when you get involved in it. And I never would. I want it to fly going forward, and I hope we can find somebody that's really fired up to get it on and get it running. And because it's got great potential, there's no reason why it can't be in League One next year. None whatsoever. There's no reason why all this can't be undone. In terms of the disaster that was last year. And then if they play like they did last night under John and Jimmy and John and I think there's no reason why top 7, top 3 isn't possible. I think there's a real chance, and there's nobody going to be rooting for him more than me. Like I say, I might still be there. So, but it is a fantastic little club now. So I'm proud and I'm satisfied with what I've done.
Oh, rightly so. I mean, I've got, as you know, I collect sets of accounts as a hobby, and I've seen the amount of investment that's gone in and the impact that it's had on your revenues and so. And we can't ignore the fact that for 15 months there was no football due to COVID, and I know that was an expensive and painful experience for you on a variety of levels. You're a big employer in the town as well. You said that you're really pleased with these new income streams and you feel that that's really positive. Are you confident that the clubs in League One and League Two can keep control of wages, or do we have the problems that we've had historically that you've got more money coming in and all of a sudden it's all flying out the window?
It depends on how they set the new regulation up. So what we've talked about is more income, but it's not what rules and controls come along with that income. So when the income comes from the Premier League, they're not going to be happy if all clubs take it and just blow it, piss it against a wall. So Premier League are going to want conditions on it, and that conditionality should limit what people can spend if they want to access that money. So it depends on what rules come alongside the increased income that's coming. Because football, you could give it every penny on earth, and it would waste that and want some more. Yeah. And that's what football's like. It's as bad an industry in terms of control and management as you'll ever see. In fact, I don't think there is another bad industry anywhere near as bad. Maybe car boot sales where you don't know what's going on, but that's about it. In football, there's about that much clarity. So there's got to be, and I know Rick's on with this. There's got to be rules and controls that say, look, the condition of this money, you can't just go out and spend it on silly things because you're always tempted.
Yeah.
I mean, when the prize is always money in football. So the more you win, the more you get, and when you get that, people want to win. And certainly in early days of ownership, they also want to impress fans. So they tend to go a bit over the top because they want to show a difference when you take over. You want to come in with a bang. You don't want to come in and say, right, I'm going to spend less than you did last year and it'll be even crapper. You want to come in and say, look, I'm here now. I'm going to do better. I'm going to spend a bit more and on this. And so it's all geared around spending more. And it's all the way up to Premier League, isn't it? No matter what rules, the Premier League spends more and more. I forget, you'll know what they spent on transfers this year.
Yeah, but that's just Chelsea. Let's face it.
I think they'll be giving 40-year contracts out soon, so they could amortise it. Your favourite word, over 40 years. That's what they'll be doing. They have to have a granddad with his boots running around town.
It'd be me and you, Andy.
Yeah, with his Aki shirt on. Yeah, so you can only stretch it so far, can't you? And I think it's been stretched as far as it can be. But the key is for clubs to be run right, and I've attempted to run it right. It's not easy when you're going downhill. The situation with John and Jimmy is me doing the right thing by the club. John and Jimmy might not like it, just like other players haven't liked it in years gone by when we've had to do what we need to do by a club. So, you've got to do the right thing by a club, and you can't. My job's to look after the club for 20 years. It's not to have it so that next year it might go bust because it's in unsustainable contracts So that's what my job is. It's not a manager's job to the next minute to score a goal, or the next game to get 3 points, or the next player to get a player in. And they're really short term managers. I'm not talking about the job, but I mean their view and their outlook is short term. As an owner, you can't be. You've got to be longer term. So in longer term, you're kind of picking up the shit, and you get a little bit of glimpse of the good. It's not the glory of running up and down Wembley steps and all that carry on as owners. You sat at back when it's good. I'm not talking about me, by the way. We've never been to Wembley on Aki. But you sat about when it's good, and when it's bad, you sat at back with all problems. Listen, it's responsibility when you run a business of any shape or size. It's responsibility, and that's what you've got. And I'm all right at that. I'm good at longer term planning. I'm good at 10-year plans. It were 10-year plans that showed that the football model were unsustainable 7 years ago.
Yep.
When I were writing to Sean Harvey, it were like, them financial plans that you look at tell a story when you project them longer. I once asked EFL to give us their 5 and 10-year budget, so I could map it on ours, so I could see that we were staying in. I never got it, by the way.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Anyhow, it's listen. I've got no negative to say about club, John and Jimmy, fans or anything. It's just every now and again they get on my nerves, just like my kids do.
Yeah.
But I can stop paying my kids. I can't stop paying for the mistakes, and I don't need to pay for aggro.
Yeah, fully understand. Well, I really appreciate you giving up your time, Andy, and I hope you're in a more positive frame. I can tell you're looking. I know how feisty you can be. I know what a fighter you are, and I just wish you.
I'm still a fighter. Don't mistake that.
All right.
Don't ever forget that.
Right.
No. Listen, we've talked a lot over years, and I appreciate what you've done for football, because you're an agent to change, and transparency and putting the stuff out there is the best thing in football. It needs to continue, and it takes people like you to keep doing it. So that's what I say. Keep doing it, and your price of football books tip my computer up so my head's somewhere near at mid screen.
I knew it was coming useful in the end.
Yeah.
The price of football. The price of football.